Have you ever found yourself forgetting names, losing track of time? The days blur, you sleep more, you speak less. And somehow, the world grows smaller without making a sound. This is how it often begins. Not with a crisis, but with quiet disconnection, especially after 65. One missed call, a canceled lunch, the end of a long career. At first, the silence feels peaceful, maybe even welcome. But over time, the silence turns sticky. The calendar stays blank, the phone doesn't ring, and without realizing it, your world begins to shrink. This isn't just sadness. It's biology. Loneliness can kill. What happens to your brain if you stop socializing after 65 isn't just a philosophical question, it's a medical one. In fact, research shows that chronic loneliness carries the same risk of early death as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It's one of the most dangerous health risks of being alone in old age. But here's the twist. What if you enjoy solitude? Does that mean you're doomed? Not at all. There's a difference between healthy solitude and dangerous isolation. But what's happening inside your cells might still surprise you. Because how loneliness affects aging and the brain goes far deeper than mood. It literally changes your DNA. In 2023, the U.S. Surgeon General called loneliness a public health crisis. It shrinks memory centers in your brain, weakens your immune system, and yes, it even wears down your heart, literally. We're only beginning to understand how loneliness affects aging and the brain, and the results are sobering. Still, this isn't a lecture about being more social. It's about finding quiet, meaningful connection your way. In this video, we'll explore what really happens when we stop socializing after 65, and how to protect your memory, your heart, and your independence, even if you love your alone time. Let's begin. Let me tell you about Martha. She's 72, widowed. Once a regular at church, she slowly stopped going after her husband passed. She insists she's fine, keeps herself busy with books and crossword puzzles. But over time, her memory started slipping. Her sleep grew restless. She couldn't shake this nagging ache in her chest that she chalked up to just getting older. Then there's James. He's 68, retired school teacher, played golf every Saturday until a knee injury knocked him off the course. Now he spends his afternoons watching television reruns, feeling, in his words, useless. He hasn't spoken to his old friends in months. He says he doesn't want to bother anyone. Martha and James don't think they're lonely, but something vital is missing, and their health is paying the price. It's a real example of how social isolation impacts seniors over 65. Not just emotionally, but biologically. The biology of loneliness. What science shows. Loneliness isn't just an emotion, it's a biological signal, as real as hunger or thirst. When we're disconnected from others, our body interprets it as danger. Stress hormones like cortisol shoot up, our immune system weakens, inflammation spreads, the heart works harder, the brain slows down. In fact, older adults who are socially isolated have a 29% higher risk of premature death. That's not just from depression. It's from heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, even Alzheimer's. It's one reason why seniors over 65 need social interaction, not for company, but for survival. A 2022 study from UCLA showed that long-term loneliness actually shortens our telomeres, the protective caps on the ends of our DNA. Think of them as the plastic tips on shoelaces. When they wear down, aging accelerates, and loneliness grinds them down faster than most people realize. Sleep gets disrupted, digestion weakens, our entire system gets thrown off rhythm. And yet, there's hope. Because this process isn't permanent. The body, even in later years, is beautifully adaptable. With the right support, it can heal. What the aging brain needs, and what happens without it. Your brain is a social organ. It thrives on interaction, on stimulation, novelty, and even small talk. Without that, the hippocampus, the part of your brain that forms new memories, begins to shrink. Verbal recall slows. Dopamine levels drop, which saps your motivation. You start forgetting names, losing track of time, withdrawing even further. This is exactly what happens to your brain if you stop socializing after 65. And it raises the difficult but necessary question. Does loneliness cause memory loss in older adults? The science increasingly says yes. But the good news? This is reversible. Even a 30-minute conversation a day can spark activity in critical brain regions. That's how powerful connection is. A 2021 study from Johns Hopkins found that socially active seniors maintained larger hippocampal volume and better memory retention. It doesn't take deep, emotional conversations. Even light, friendly interactions can serve as mental exercise. So, if you felt your mind getting foggy, the answer might not be a supplement, it might be a phone call. Why social connection protects the heart? Literally, it's not just the brain that benefits. Social ties protect your heart in ways we can now measure. A massive study of over 300,000 people showed that those with strong social bonds had a 50% higher chance of survival, regardless of their medical history. Think about that. Connection is as powerful as quitting smoking or lowering blood pressure. It underscores why social connection is important for longevity after retirement, not just emotionally, but physiologically. In Okinawa, Japan, elders belong to moai, small social groups that meet regularly. In Sardinia, Italy, family dinners stretch for hours, full of stories and laughter. These are blue zones, places where people routinely live past 90, with energy and joy. And their secret isn't just diet or exercise. It's daily connection, casual touch, shared meals, purposeful roles in the community. Hugs and conversations trigger oxytocin, the bonding hormone. It lowers blood pressure, calms inflammation, and strengthens immunity. Even petting a dog or chatting with your mailman boosts endorphins. In contrast, the health risks of being alone in old age are far-reaching. Increased inflammation, higher rates of heart disease, and greater vulnerability to stress. Connection protects you from the inside out. It's one of the cornerstones of social wellness for seniors over 65. Isolation versus loneliness. There's a difference. Now, I want to pause here and make something very clear. Isolation is a lack of contact. Loneliness is a lack of connection, and the two aren't always the same. You can live alone and feel perfectly whole, or you can be surrounded by people and feel completely unseen. What matters isn't how many people you talk to, it's whether those interactions nourish you. A 2022 study in aging and mental health found that nearly 30% of isolated older adults reported no loneliness. They had meaningful solo routines, one or two trusted confidants, and a strong inner life. So, is it okay to want to be alone after 65? Absolutely. If it supports your mental, emotional, and physical health. But we still need to talk about what healthy solitude looks like, because even the most independent spirits need connection, in some form, to thrive. When life shifts, why we stop socializing. After 65, everything changes. You might retire, lose a spouse, move to a smaller home. Your kids are busy with their own lives. Your body doesn't move like it used to. Vision fades. Hearing gets harder. It's no wonder so many pull back. And yet, most don't talk about it. Many feel ashamed to admit they're lonely, especially men. NIH data shows men over 65 are 50% less likely to admit loneliness than women. Add in tech barriers, transportation issues, and grief, and socializing starts to feel like climbing a mountain. Some stop trying. Others don't even notice it's happened. But how social isolation impacts seniors over 65 is profound. It chips away at memory, immunity, and motivation. And while solitude can be nourishing, too much isolation can quietly erode our health over time. That's why seniors over 65 need social interaction, not for popularity, but for vitality, to keep the body responsive and the mind alert. What if you prefer being alone, finding connection on your terms? Let's say you're not a joiner. You don't like big crowds. That's okay. Connection doesn't have to mean potlucks or group classes. It can be quiet, personal, sacred. Start with a small, meaningful circle. One confidant, a friend, a cousin, a neighbor can protect your brain as much as a whole social calendar. A 2020 study in the Journal of Gerontology found that emotional intimacy with just one person significantly reduced dementia risk. You don't need 50 friends. You need one safe space. And if you're more inwardly focused, that's not a flaw, that's a gift. Try mindfulness practices, writing in a journal, sketching, gardening. These acts connect you to yourself and the present moment. Or explore techniques rooted in Buddhist philosophy. Mindfulness meditation helps you witness your thoughts without judgment. It lowers anxiety, stabilizes blood pressure, and slows the shrinking of memory centers in the brain. Loving-kindness meditation, sending well wishes to yourself, to loved ones, to strangers, actually increases oxytocin, improves sleep, and deepens your sense of connection to the world. One widow I knew lit incense every morning for her late husband. She sat with a photo, whispered a prayer. It was her way of feeling held. Over time, her grief softened. Her blood pressure dropped. Her sleep returned. Even in solitude, she was not alone. Because being alone after 65 can speed up aging, unless it's balanced with meaningful engagement. That engagement doesn't need to be social in the traditional sense, but it must connect you to people, to purpose, to presence. So here are some tips to overcome loneliness in older adults, especially if you're more introverted. Schedule one call a week with someone you trust. Join a virtual interest group, even just to observe. Volunteer for a cause you care about, remotely or locally. Create small rituals of remembrance, gratitude, or reflection. If you're wondering how to build social connections after 65, start small, start sincere, because connection isn't about quantity. It's about quality, and it's never too late to create it on your own terms. Ready to reconnect? Here's where to start. If you're ready to reach out, but feel overwhelmed, start small. Step 1. One connection. Call a relative. Text an old friend. Thinking of you. Small gestures matter more than you think. Step 2. Reconnect with purpose. Volunteer. Mentor. Share your wisdom. Purpose creates connection, and vice versa. These are powerful tips to overcome loneliness in older adults, especially after retirement. Step 3. Use tech as a bridge. Platforms like GrandPad or Get Set Up are made for seniors. Libraries offer free tech tutoring. You don't have to figure it out alone. This is how to build social connections after 65, with confidence and curiosity. Step 4. Build emotional stamina. Move your body gently. Get sunlight. Rest well. These physical habits support social wellness for seniors over 65, making it easier to say yes to conversation and community. Step 5. Practice social courage. Most people are craving connection too, but they don't know how to ask. Your hello might heal more than just you. Even small interactions, chatting with your cashier, greeting your mail carrier, waving to a neighbor, can gently rewire your brain. Scientists now know that loneliness can cause memory loss in older adults, especially when social withdrawal is prolonged. Why? Because what happens to your brain if you stop socializing after 65 is measurable. Brain volume in key memory areas shrinks. Emotional regulation weakens. But it's not permanent. Even modest reconnection can slow or even reverse these changes. Closing reflection. Martha and James revisited. Remember Martha? She didn't rejoin the church choir, but she started calling her sister every Thursday. Eventually, she downloaded a meditation app and practiced metta each morning. Her memory, sharper. Her sleep, more peaceful. Her heart, just a little lighter. She says, "I'm still alone most days, but I'm not lonely." And James? He started hosting poker night once a month for fellow veterans. The first game was awkward. The second, a little better. Now, it's the highlight of his month. "It took me a year to admit I missed the camaraderie," he told me, "but I did, and it feels good to laugh again." After 65, connection doesn't need to look like it used to. It doesn't need to be loud or crowded. It just needs to feel real. Through conversation, through stillness, through soil, through song, there are so many ways to feel alive again. You don't have to be popular, you just have to be present. And you're not alone. Let's keep going. Do you thrive in quiet solitude, or does your heart light up around others? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone over 60. Together, we can break the silence around loneliness.